Ben. How you doing?
I'm good, Bart. How are you?
Pretty good, Mr. Ben.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. I know you're a COP sub, right? Aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, where are you playing out of?
This is played at MGM National Harbor.
Ah, around the Washington D.C. area. My son, he's flown so well because we went to Thailand and we've done a couple flights, but he was really young. And now he's at this age now where he just turned like 16 months where he's really walking around. And my wife and I were just like, oh man, we'd love to go on a vacation this summer. She's not going to come with me to the World Series, but we just think it will be a challenge to fly. So we're thinking about going driving somewhere. And my stepdaughter, I think, would enjoy this. She likes history. So I think we might actually go to Washington, D.C. this summer. See the Constitution, the Smithsonian. It's like an 8-hour drive from Boston. So you might see me down there.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yep. Okay, what game you
Cool,
playing?
cool. This is 2-5 1K cap.
2, 5, and again, I always say they do that 5 card PLO high game down there. That's a big thing.
Yeah, super popular.
You ever see a guy playing the 5-10 game with this bow tie on?
No, I
Yeah.
don't.
Old CLP subscriber named Jesse the Suit, if anybody knows the reference. Okay, so 2-5,
Yep.
1,000 buy-in. Okay.
And we're about 1,400 effective.
Okay. Someone said, let's go to Tampa. That's a long drive, Boston to Tampa, as opposed to Boston to Washington. I would love to go to Tampa, though. Great cigar town. All right, so 1,400 effective.
Yep. And it folds around to me. I'm in the cutoff, and I have King 10 of spades,
Okay.
and I raise to 15.
Is that about the standard open?
Standard open varies. I mean, anywhere from 15 to as high as 30 or 35, depending on the player. This is pretty much my standard open
Okay.
with no limps.
Okay, so you go to 15.
And the button calls, and the blinds fold.
So your head's up.
Heads up.
Okay. And it is 30 bucks ish. Probably after
Yeah,
the drop.
30
Yeah.
bucks. Yeah.
Okay.
So we see King of Clubs, Queen of Clubs, Six of Hearts on the flop.
King of clubs, queen of clubs, 6 of hearts here with king 10 of spades. Okay.
And I go ahead and I bet 20.
Okay.
And the button raises to 70.
Button raises 70. Interesting. I mean, what do you think that this raise, what's in his range here?
I think he has sets, probably just sixes, because I think we would have heard a 3-bet with kings or queens.
Yep.
I think he has some 2-pair, king queen. I don't know about king 6, queen 6, possibly maybe.
Well, if he's playing king 6 and queen 6 suited, then he's definitely playing king queen off.
For
So
sure.
if he's
I would
that
say
if he's that
yeah,
wide.
king queen off for sure. I think maybe we would get 3-bet at some frequency with the king queen suiteds, but for sure king queen off. And then a lot of draws, club draws, straight draws, open ended with jack 10, things like that.
I don't know if just a naked Jack 10 is doing a whole lot of raising. I don't see that, but the flush draws that I see, there are combo draws are like a Jack 10 of clubs, Ace 10 of clubs. If it's not 3-bet off, Jack 9 of clubs, possibly maybe some 6x of clubs, but that's usually rare. And then again, like naked nut flush draws, I think is less, like Ace 7 of clubs, something like that. Also, too, it is worth of note if he's ever doing like a top pair type of raise, you're actually also losing to king jack. I mean, I'm not going to fold now, but it's an interesting little thing where if a club comes on the turn and he bets again, I'm sure you're probably just going to dump it, right?
Yeah, probably.
So I assume you call.
Yeah, I call.
All right, so hero calls, and we are at 170.
And the turn is the queen of diamonds.
Queen of diamonds, so what does that change? It changes the fact that there's less combos of obviously king queen now, right? I mean, there's still 4 total if he plays them all. And that's pretty much it, because the 6, it was king of clubs, queen of clubs, 6 of hearts, so it's not like you can have queen x of clubs here.
Yeah, there's no king x of clubs or queen x of clubs. So
Right.
I actually thought this was a decent card for me.
Yeah, it's a decent card for you. That's what I mean. It doesn't change anything if you think he's still bluffing draws, yeah.
Yeah. So I check,
Uh-huh.
and he bets 100.
So hero checks, button bets 100. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think you, again, have like a pretty standard, call here, right? It's better for you because it cuts down on the full house outs, and it's a blank. So I think we call again.
Yeah, and I do make the call.
And now we're at 370, right? So king of clubs, queen of clubs, six of hearts, queen of diamonds. Hero has king 10 of spades out of position. Okay.
And the river is the six of diamonds.
Wow. Wow. I mean, if you ever had a good run out for this is like reminds me of that hand with JR and Rampage from like a
Yeah,
month and a
that's
half ago.
actually that popped into my head as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't believe that JR folded that because here's the thing: like when somebody, and that JR was actually in position, but when you work through a range like we did of draws and thick value, when the board starts to pair up like this does, it's just great for you to bluff catch because there's just less value and more draws are bricked out, right?
Right, exactly.
Now, the only thing that this changes is if he somehow had like a hand like 5-6 of clubs and he raised the flop and continued to bet turn and then just like ran into it at the end. I mean, that's the only thing, but I will take that over cutting out now from 3 combos of sixes to 1 now, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I guess it's possible. Like I could have a queen here too, and if he just has a six, he's losing to that. So
Yeah, I mean that would be a very nitty check back. I mean, I gotta tell you, like I'm if I got here with a 6, I'm betting, but I assume you checked.
I check, yeah.
Uh huh.
And now he bets 400.
Well, this is one of these ones where it's like, well, obviously it's very, very polarized, right? And maybe this came into play when you were saying that because you knew what the bet size was going to be before we did, right? Where, oh, wow, now he's only like repping, now he really is just betting a queen here plus, right? Queen here plus, like he's never going to bet like any, I don't think even if he somehow flatted you with ace king, it's interesting because the ace king probably should be a bet here. If I played ace king this way, I can be honest with you, and I thought you had a king, and obviously I'm going to value own myself sometimes against like, I guess you could have aces, right? I can value own myself against aces sometimes if I have ace king, but there's so few king queens here and few queens, I would say, that I very well might bet ace king here for the same reasons, because like you might look me up with like ace jack or something.
Mm-hmm.
And you might look me up with any king. The sizing here, that's why if you're up against a player that can depolarize the river and read these spots, it's very hard to bluff catch against, right?
Yeah, what sizing would you take with ace king in this spot?
I would very rarely ever be cut off versus button in here with ace king, so it's hard to say, or like with aces or something like that. But I might go large here. Again, things that are going against us is like, we block you having a king. If I had aces, if I flat with aces, it's a much better play with aces if there wasn't a 3-bet here. So here you sort of, it's theoretically this has got to be a call always, right? I'm maybe thinking that you're struggling here because you don't see people bluff this much.
Yeah,
with this amount.
Yeah, you don't see a whole lot of overbet, bluffs. I don't know. It's just under bluff spot, I think. But
here's the thing. I have definitely made folds like this that are against the theory. Just so what the theory would be obviously we just talked about why you would call down here a lot, right? Like if you plug this into a solver, I'm sure this is a call like 100%, or very, very close to it. Sometimes weird things with like, certain types of combos, but the overriding factor sometimes in live poker might be a guy who's just never bluffing for this sizing at the end that makes you fold and break the theory. That's the exploit. That's what's beautiful about live poker and why we don't play robots, right? It's the exploit. But do you know the guy at all?
I don't know him. I don't play much 2-5. I usually play 1-3. I've been taking some small 2-5 shots. So I didn't have I didn't have much history with the villain. I have seen him there before. So he's a younger guy. He looks like a reg. It wasn't like some old OMC guy that you think probably never bluffs.
The interesting thing about that part though is because that can go we don't know how good the guy is just because he's young, but say he was a good player, okay? And you'd be like, oh, I have to call down. Again, you want to play more theoretically baseline, but I would say though that a lot of combo draws are not supposed to bluff at the end here with this board run out because they're going to get called so much. You know what I'm saying? So you can look at that and it's like, well, is he supposed to be bluffing here? I mean, he's going to have no showdown value for sure, but I can kind of go either way with it. But if he's a younger guy, I probably flick in the call. I got to be honest with you, if I don't know him.
Yeah, I was really on the fence about it, but I did end up flicking in the call,
Mm-hmm.
and I get shown quad sixes.
Well, it makes sense. Bad river
Yeah,
for you.
bad
Let
river.
me ask you this question. What if the river was like an offsuit deuce? I mean, the difference being that all the draws break out, but his value isn't cut, right? So
Yeah,
much.
it may swing. It may have swung me towards a fold if it wasn't a six on the river. Yeah, it was really close.
Yeah, that's an interesting one too. Definitely an interesting one. And I will say though too, if you ever play tournaments, I don't know if you ever go to the World Series caller, Ben, or play some of these small tournaments, because the players are so bad, and especially when aggression is kind of rewarded, I have a hard time folding. Like this would be a much easier call for me in a tournament. I mean, depending on the situation, thinking about going to the World Series, because the players are just so bad. They don't understand like what's supposed to be bluffed. You know what I mean? And they become even more polarized on the river because they don't want to lose the pot. So anyways, nice one, Ben. Appreciate it. Thanks for the call.